Welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We are headed out to the garden to do another garden tour. It is June 29th, so it's time to sneak in our June tour before July, so let's get going. Okay, so as soon as we walk into the garden gate, we have our grapes, which are producing beautifully. Those will turn purple probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I have my spaghetti squash spaghetti on both of these trellises, but I have had to replant them 3 times because they keep getting eaten and or ripped out by critters. But this one's finally taking off and finally doing good. We have Cherokee purple tomatoes here, and those are going to be sprinkled all throughout the garden. I had a lot of seedlings left over this year, so I kind of put those in all different areas that I could find. Here we have a small patch of sunflowers. This is to take care of the squash bugs that are going to be attracted to this plant right here. Squash bugs love, love, love sunflower heads, and they will choose sunflowers over squash. I learned that last year. Here again, we have more Cherokee purple tomatoes, lots of tomatoes coming on. Here we have our sugar baby watermelons. Let's see if we can, oh, there's one. Wow, that's probably going to be ready in maybe next weekend. There's some more little baby one. There's another baby one down there. Let's get a few over here. There's another little baby one. Those are so, so good, so sweet. These are more Cherokee purple tomatoes. We really love our Cherokee purple tomatoes, if you can't tell. But they're coming on beautifully. Okay, let's come around here. In our last tour, this was golden beets. Those have all been harvested, and I replanted some different tomatoes. These are beefsteak tomatoes, I believe, if I remember correctly. And this is all growing weeds beautifully. I am having a major issue with an armadillo, and we are trying to get a video together to kind of document that. Oh my goodness, look at this. So this is my first time out here today. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about, the armadillo. Every single night he comes and there's a new spot that he just roots in, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but anyway. So because of that, I have been very hesitant to replant things in bare soil because he seems to be attracted to bare soil. So that's why nothing is planted here. Also, because of the armadillo, I had tomatoes here. And because of him, I no longer have tomatoes here, and I needed to change my plan because I needed to plant something that could grow in very hot conditions. We live in the South. It's already hitting 85 to 90 degrees, and it's only going to go up from there. So I needed something that grew fast and loved, loved, loved hot conditions, and that is okra. I did this square foot style so that I have 1 per square foot. There's 14 okra plants here. This is my first year growing okra because we actually don't like the way the okra is preserved. As far as I know, it can only be pickled and canned or frozen. Those are your only long-term storage options, and we don't like either one. But I have access to a freeze dryer this year, and from what I hear, you can slice up the okra, you know, toss it in your normal, like a breadcrumb or seasoning mixture, and then air fry it, and it's like a healthier version of fried okra from a freeze-dried state. So that's what our plan is for this bed of okra right here. Next, we have our mixed bed of perennials and tomatoes. This is parsley. I've already harvested a lot of parsley, and it is already growing back beautifully. These, oh, I'm so excited. Look at all of these flowers, y'all. This is Berry's Crazy Cherry, and it is living up to its name. Look at that. I mean, there's probably 30 blooms right there. And the whole plant is covered in patches of just huge blooms. Look at that one. Look at that cluster. Not huge blooms, but a cluster of blooms. And hopefully, Lord willing, each one of those flowers is going to produce a little cherry tomato. So I'm excited about that this year. It's my first time growing Berry's Crazy Cherry. Basil, always try to put basil next to my tomatoes. Perennial garlic chives, some more Berry Crazy, and I'm hoping to do a video soon to show y'all how to seed save if you haven't done that before. And I'm going to be seed saving these bunching onions, bunching green onions, but I haven't clipped them off yet because the bumblebees are just loving them, and I feel kind of bad taking their preferred snack area, pollen area. So there aren't any here right now, but early mornings, man, this thing is just buzzing with bees. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to come and save some seeds from that soon. Okay, next bed, more parsley, and this is our pepper bed. We have giant Marconi peppers and your California sweet green bell peppers. So those are coming up nicely. I don't have much fruit set, and last year was my second year growing peppers, and it was June, end of June, early July, and I had no fruit set, and I thought, well, this didn't work out this year. But then late July, early August, it exploded with fruit, and I figured out that peppers just absolutely love and thrive in hot temperatures. And so when my temperatures hit in the 100 degrees, these things just took off. So I'm fully expecting that to happen again this year, Lord willing. Another patch of parsley there. This used to be our cabbage area. We harvested that. If you're interested in checking out that harvest and preserving method, I will link the cabbage harvest video above. And I'm leaving this bed here for now. I will eventually turn it into a fall crop. I haven't decided what yet. Maybe another round of onions, I'm not sure. Our kale bed, I uncovered it recently after the armadillo kind of tore it up a little bit, but I have gotten 3 or 4 massive harvests off of this kale already. I grow kale to supplement my lettuce so that in the hot seasons I can still have a fresh garden salad for lunch each day, and that has worked out beautifully. But in addition to daily small harvests for lunch, I've also gotten 3 massive harvests, and by massive I mean I have been dehydrating it, and I have quarts upon quarts upon quarts of dried kale already. And we love that in like a zuppa toscana soup. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's an Olive Garden soup, and it is delicious, and it uses kale, and it's easy to make at home. So that's what we use that for. My cilantro has bolted over here, even though it was a slow bolt, but that's okay. I expected it. It's, you know, it can't really tolerate the heat much. But again, I have not cut that down because the bees are absolutely loving it. I just don't want to take that away from them. It's encouraging them to come into the garden, so that's staying for now. Let's move over here to the perennial herb bed. Nothing really has changed much here, except I have harvested all of that. Not all of it. I've topped off my oregano and thyme and sage. We have a harvesting and preserving video on herbs. If you missed that one, I will link that above. This is our potato patch that I need to come and put wood chips in. We have a dehydrating potato video coming up, and I will link that above when it is ready. Next, let's come to this tomato trellis. Oops, I need to tie that guy up. These are all Roma tomatoes. Whoops, goodness, I need to get out here and tie some things up. These are all Roma tomatoes, so these are all going to be our pasta sauces, pizza sauces, salsa, things like that. Beautiful clusters of multiple tomatoes, all looking beautiful. My children and I come out every single night and hunt for tomato worms, and boy, do we get a massive harvest of tomato worms. You know, I've thought about using a BT spray for the worms, but my children and I are having so much fun catching them, and our chickens absolutely love them. Uh-oh, there's an army worm. This right here, that's called an army worm, and they can get out of control quick. So, sorry little guy, but you're going underneath my foot. Smush, smush, smush. Okay, so Roma tomatoes. Let's see, let's walk over here and show you my new sweet potato patch. I am so excited about this, y'all. I'm working on a video. It's something that I'm going to be working on for several weeks before y'all will see it, but it's because I want to give you a start to finish, going from raw grass like this, just weeds, to a sweet potato bed in one season. It was almost immediate. So I just poured wood chips on here, no cardboard, nothing, and I created these little, I'm getting ahead of myself, I have a whole video dedicated to this that I'm working on, but anyway, I created little soil pockets in the wood chips because I learned that sweet potatoes are the one thing that will grow in fresh wood chips. Normally you don't want to plant anything in fresh wood chips because it will rob nitrogen from the soil. But sweet potatoes, no issue. So this is, let's see, 3 weeks in, I think, and everything is looking fantastic. I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, let me give you a look at our trellis tunnels. Sorry for that noise in the background. Kiddos are riding on Scout, as we call it. Okay, so all of our cucumbers are here. We originally had a trellis for green beans here and a trellis for green bean here, but I have been fighting that stinking armadillo, and we're just not gonna get a decent green bean harvest this year, but that's okay. I plan on possibly ripping out the cucumbers after we have all of our preservation done from them and doing this whole trellis in pole beans because they grow really fast. And it stays hot here until October, and I think I can get a crop of green beans there. If the armadillo will let me. We'll see. But let's just look at a couple of cucumbers. These are all pickling cucumbers. Okay, you don't want pickling cucumbers to get much bigger than this. Once they start producing a lot of seeds on the inside, not only will you get seedy pickles, but the plant starts to think that it is going to seed and needs to focus on reproducing instead of fruiting. So you pick pickling cucumbers right about that size, and there's just so many in here that I need to come out and get. This is something that we've been harvesting for weeks now, and every night I am picking around 8 to 10 cucumbers off of this trellis alone. Because of the armadillo, I did not get a chance. None of these sprouted. He came and rooted. Let me give you a close-up idea of what's going on here. Okay, I don't know if you can tell how disturbed this mulch is, but there's like little pockets. Anyway, that armadillo just keeps coming in and rooting all up in here, so. But it turned out to be a good thing because you can see my zucchini rampicante from the other trellis is coming through on this trellis. There's nothing planted right here, nothing. That is all coming from the other trellis over there, so it probably turned out to be a good thing. This is a mystery plant. I don't know if I accidentally dropped a seed or if we are dealing with a volunteer from last year. I planted red ripper cowpeas here last year, and I'm thinking this might be a survivor, and it landed or popped up inside the holes of my concrete bed here. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna give you a string and help you grow, and we'll see what happens. So that's what that is. And when I saw how well that was growing, I thought, well, I'm just gonna plop some green bean seeds in some of these holes, and since I lost so many to that armadillo, let's just see what happens. And they're growing. They're not looking very good. You can see a bunch of yellowing compared to this one right over here, but hey, I mean, we'll see. I'm not getting green beans otherwise. I did have some green beans that are growing good. You can see some there. These are rattlesnake pole beans. They are a highly productive variety of green beans, and they have this beautiful purple striations on them, if I can get the camera to focus. And that's why they're called rattlesnake, because they have like a stripy kind of pattern to them. So I'm picking off about 5 to 7 of these green beans every night. So eventually, after a couple weeks, I will have enough to get a couple quarts out of it. I just won't be able to meet my yearly goal that I had in mind. That's okay. Okay, here is our zucchini rampicante trellis. It is doing beautifully. Look at that. It is crossing over already. It is only the end of June. I wasn't really expecting a harvest till the first week of July, and I have already pulled off probably 15 zucchini plants this size. 15! That's insane. Praise the Lord. But it's also hopped the fence, and it's growing all over the place. See, that's on the other side of the fence. But it is just growing beautifully. Here's another one that should probably be picked today. Look how long that thing is. Amazing. I'm so excited. So zucchini takes on the flavor of whatever you cook it in. So when I look at this trellis, I'm thinking this is a meal stretcher trellis. I can use this let me go ahead and tuck this guy. He's kind of drooping down. We want to train them to go up the trellis and not down. I'm looking through the camera and it's making it hard. Okay, let's tuck him down here. Go up and over, kind of get him. There we go. Now he's trained to go up instead of down. I tried to train this one on the corner to go up the trellis, but as you can see, it decided to jump outside, wrap around my pole, and now it's going down into my wood chip pile here. Here's a little baby one, more like a teenager. But they are just everywhere. Oh, I'm so excited. This has officially earned a forever spot in my garden. You can see there's some yellowing leaves here. Those are mostly the bottom leaves, and in my experience, that is just old leaves. It's not necessarily a disease that's going to take over the whole plant. It's just, you know, those are the oldest leaves. Same thing over here. Green, 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 beautiful. Just the bottom leaf, which was like the first true leaves, are turning yellow. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not addressing it at this point. If I notice it starts spreading, then I will address it at that point. But every night, in addition to harvesting and in addition to hunting tomato worms, my children and I come out and hunt squash bugs. We have a whole video on how we manage our squash bug population organically and frugally, and I will link that above in case you're interested, in case you missed that video. Look at that one, beautiful. Okay, so in this bed was my experiment with bush beans. Every year I always tell myself I'm only going to grow pole beans. In my experience, they're easier, more enjoyable, more productive, but it seems like I cave every year and toss some bush beans somewhere because I'm thinking, surely they're, you know, they're gonna be good. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, and I probably am doing something wrong. So if you have any tips for me, drop those in the comments. But again, I am disappointed with my bush beans. I have one row of contender bush beans and one row of jade bush beans, and they just haven't done much at all. I mean, this one has some that's ready. It's just nowhere near the production on my pole beans. So I do need to come out here and do another harvest. I have harvested once, but it wasn't even enough to, this whole bed right here, this whole bed wasn't even enough to fill up a quart jar. That's just sad. So sad. Okay. Tomato section over here. This first row is Bradley tomatoes and sprinkled in with basil. You see they're looking nice. We've been pulling a whole lot of tomato worms off of this one. They seem to really like this one. These tomatoes are super fun. These are Black Beauties. It's my first year growing these. And look at that. They're going to turn all the way black. Probably within the next 2 weeks or so. They're going to be black. And they are just beautiful, I think. Let's go look at some over here. Oh, wow, that's so pretty. Look at that one. Ooh, look at this one. That's so neat. There's another one. Anyway, but these plants are loaded. They've been, so far, have been really disease resistant. They are attracting the tomato hornworm, but that's just how it is if you're going to grow potatoes organically. This last row is beefsteak, just your traditional big beefy or big beefsteak, excuse me. Loaded, doing fantastic. Look at all of those. I'm very excited to start harvesting tomatoes. Every year we look forward to that first garden BLT. Again, sprinkling some basil in between. But things are looking beautiful. What's not looking so beautiful is what's behind me. Dun, dun, dun. Not so pretty. So I didn't drill holes in my kiddie pools this year because it was so hot last year and so little rain that the kiddie pools were drying out faster than I could keep water in them, and I figured I was losing a lot from leaking out of those drill holes. But so I didn't drill them. So this year we have had torrential downpours and storms, just one after another it feels like. And these all filled up to the brim with water, and I didn't notice it for a couple days, and they got really dirty, nasty. Lots of fungus, lots of flies. So I did have to come out and drill holes, which is actually how you're supposed to set it up. Let me try to get a close-up of this one so you can see the holes. A drainage hole there, drainage hole there, drainage hole there. And that's to prevent water from staying in the pools and attracting like mosquitoes and flies and all that. But anyway, this is squash. This is just your traditional yellow crookneck squash. I'm not sure what happened here. I planted here, nothing came up. So I have a decision to make if I want to replant that or not. But so far, all the squash bugs have stayed on my zucchini rampicante, which is nice because since it's trellised, it's really easy to see. And I can pick those off pretty easily and not have to bend over and hurt my back and all that. I have some more sunflower patch there. From now on, anywhere I have squash, I'm going to be planting sunflowers because I just saw last year how beneficial that was. Some medicinal herbs here. I've got mullein there and some yarrow that is blooming. I need to harvest that for some tinctures, and some more yarrow. I need to harvest the flowers for make a tincture. Fantastic for ear infections. Lots of elderberry trees sprinkled throughout here, but this is not our primary elderberry patch. Our primary elderberry patch is right outside our front door. But anyway, this is still raw ground. I had a goal of making this whole section here sweet potatoes, but that was a lot of work hauling in these wood chips by the 5-gallon bucket or by the wheelbarrow, and I just couldn't do this whole section in time before I needed to get those sweet potatoes in the ground. Last but not least, let's talk about what happened here. So I'm not going to go too in depth because, like I said, I'm working on a separate video to show y'all what happened here, but this was our onions, and I had to harvest them prematurely because the armadillo came and ripped up every single one. I mean, he just had an absolute field day. And I don't know if you caught our May garden tour. If you missed that one, I will link that above. But in May, I had a very nicely manicured yellow onion row. It was 50 feet. I had just plain grass on each side. I was going to be expanding that for next year's onions, but it seems like this is his favorite spot, and every night he is coming mostly here and the sweet potato bed that I just showed you, but he is just tearing things up. And at this point we are peacefully coexisting, but it's frustrating to see that work gone. But 'tis life. Okay, that is it for the June garden tour. Hello, kitties. We'll see y'all next time. Bye. Wait, just kidding. I forgot the Greenstalk. So my Greenstalk is looking very sad, but that's expected because it is June. Temperatures are 85 to 95 degrees already, and lettuce just does not do well in that kind of heat. So I'm still trying to decide what to do here. Do I want to focus on, look at that poor lacinato kale. Oh, poor thing, looks so sad. So sad. I have a decision to make whether or not I want to plant green beans in here, the whole thing. Since I lost them, maybe I could plant this whole thing with green beans and still meet my yearly goal. Or it saves us so much money to grow our salad greens. So I've been testing out some different greens that are supposedly very heat tolerant, and this one is looking fantastic. This is Merlot lettuce. It's a red leaf lettuce, obviously, but it has really been holding up to the heat pretty good. The marigolds are just now starting to kind of put out flowers. I always sprinkle a few marigolds in around my plants as much as possible. This Paris Island romaine isn't doing too bad. I mean, it's pretty droopy, but not doing too terribly bad. Let me see if I have any more Merlot. Nope, I only did that first. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, I did Merlot on this whole tier right here, and it's all looking good. So I have a decision to make whether or not to do that. Plant another salad bed with Merlot lettuce, find a couple more. I have a 4-season lettuce that I could plant here, and I think I'll probably do that because it just saves us so much money. Eating a salad every day and not having to pay for it. So that's what I'll probably do. Okay, for real this time. For real, bye-bye. See you next time. Bye.